Hey everyone, this is Denise from lumahat.com. In this video, I want to show you how to make shoelaces, okay? And you can ask why. Well, because you might want it a different color or a different length or just to change things up. So let me show you what you're going to need. For this particular project, you do need a spool loom, and normally it has some pegs on the bottom. I just remove it to make it easier to use. You're only going to need to use 3 of these pegs. This is your regular floss. You use them to make friendship bracelets and to embroider. And you should have 2 of them. It's just going to make it easier. And you need 2 for each shoelace. For a regular sneaker like this, it's going to take 2 per shoelace. And of course, you need your hook, some scissors, and some small beads. These should fit through the little holes here. So the way you test that you have the right one for your particular shoe is to just basically push the bead through the little hole, and if it goes through, that's fine. For instance, I really like these type of seeds, but I couldn't use it because it wouldn't go through, so I use these little silver beads for my daughter's shoelaces. Okay, that's it. Oh, and you need some tape. All right, you're all set. Come back and let's start. Okay, so a common question when knitting is how many rows. Shoelaces take a lot of rows, so counting rows can be a little painful. So just get the shoelace that was already on the shoe, or shoelace that's the length that you want, or just take a string and put it through until you figure out how long you want your shoelace, and then just get a color that's contrasting to the one that you're going to use so that it can stick out. I'm going to try to help you from having to count. So this color should be different from the other, and you're going to take your desired length and this guide, and you're going to put them together like this, and then just keep going until you get to the other end of your shoelace that has the length you want, and then just cut your guide. And this, you're going to do one of 2 things. You can either hold on to it and measure as you go along, or you can make a knot, right, which is what I do. I put a little knot right there. I take this long string and I feed it through, because what's going to happen is as I am knitting, right, I'm going to be pulling on it because it does need to be stretched out as it knits, and then I'm going to use this to know if I've knitted long enough. So you see, I fed it through here, right, and then here's the end with the knot, and I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to push it all the way down so it doesn't interfere with my knitting. Right, so there it is. It's been fed through to the other end. And then this little straggler, I don't want it to bother me. I've had the experience where it gets like tangled up with the other one, so I cut it off. Not too much, but just enough so it's not in my way. And now I have a guide, and you can use this little trick right here for all kind of projects, and not just on this loom, but any loom. And what will happen is as I'm knitting, I'll know that once my knitting gets to this end, I'm done. So I don't have to count rows, because just imagine counting all of these rows, right? Wow, that's painful. So to keep from counting rows, that's what you do. Okay, now get the rest of your actual floss, and let me show you how we start the shoelace. Okay, so you have your 2 strands of yarn, which is really floss, whatever your desired color, and try to give yourself some working yarn, so about 3 to 4 inches. Make a knot. Okay, And try to stay like opposite of your guide that you put here. So put your working yarn in there, and you go ahead and you put your knot down, come here to the right, wrap, next one to the right, wrap. So there's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. And now you don't wrap, you just bring your yarn over like this, right? And you're going to knit the middle one. This just kind of holds things in place, okay? And then you're going to come here to this one, which is where your knot was, and you're going to do that one, right? And you're going to take this here and you're going to pull on it just to tighten things up because they start to get loose. And don't do this one right now. You're going to come back to it. So 1, 1, and 2, right? You're going to push it down a little just to give yourself some working space. And after you tighten this some, you come back and you go in the opposite direction. So now you're going this way. Okay, you see that? And again, you're going to do this middle one. And you don't have to do this the whole time. It's just at the beginning because you want things as tight as possible. Come here to the side. After you do this like 1 or 2 times, maybe even 3, then you're just going to go on one standard pattern. Okay, so now you're here. And what you're doing is you're bringing the bottom one up. Okay, so you have an extra one for now right here, right? And you're going to grab your string and you're going to push your work down a little and you're going to just bring it over like that. Okay, saw that? There's no wrapping. You're basically just putting your string over on top. Now you can just start from end to end, no biggie. Okay, so you grab the bottom 2 over the top 2 and flip over. Right here the same. And you just make sure that you only grab those bottom 2. And it gets easier, it's just a little more difficult for right now. Now here, remember that you had 3 rows, which come up to 6 strands, right? Well, now you can grab them all. The 2 last ones, which come up to 4, and just bring them over. Now your stuff is settled in. It's nice and tight. You don't have to worry about it. It's not going to be perfectly tight, and you're going to have to do a little bit to it later on, but for right now, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so now all you're going to do until you get to the end of this string is to just take your working yarn and push these down, right? A little bit, not a lot. Don't push them all the way down because they get really loose. So just push it down a little bit like this, just enough to get those other 2 on top, and so you don't mix the top with the bottom. And then just bring your working yarn over like this, right? And then go from end to end. If you want to go from middle to side, that's fine, or just go from end to end, whatever works for you. And there you go, over to that side like that. And then just tighten this up a little as you work so your work doesn't get really loose, okay? You want to keep the shoelaces nice and tight. So pull on this a little, whichever end was your last one, pull it a little and then over. And as you work with these, you know, keep them as intact as you can. Just pull them as you go. So one easy way to get your knitting going is that when you pull over to the side, right, you've stretched out your working yarn, you can take that one to the back and hold it with these 2 fingers. It kind of holds it in place, and take your thumb and put it on the strings, and that kind of keeps them separated and helps to hold, which makes it a little easier to come back and stretch over. And so I separate them again and I put my finger there, and it kind of helps me manipulate that yarn. You're gonna see that it gets faster as you do it more often. And again, always remember to stretch and then come over to make sure that everything stays nice and tight. And it's gonna look like this as you progress. and you're bringing it over. Now you're gonna see that your yarn is running out and that your work looks really short, but this is a little odd in that it looks this wide, and it really, your finished work is not going to be like this. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be pulling on your string. See that? And look how long it starts to get. Just keep pulling as you're working. Pull on it, you know, stretch it out, stretch it out, stretch it out, and you'll see that it starts to get thinner, a little thicker and a little thinner, and a lot longer. And so do that progressively. It kind of helps you know where your work is, because if you keep it wide and compressed, then it always looks a lot shorter than it really is. I mean, it'll sometimes double or triple in length. So if you keep it all crunched up, you're gonna think you have a lot more work to do than you really do. Okay, so after you've stretched it and you have a better idea of the length of how far you've gone, you come back and you keep working at it if necessary. If you see that you still haven't reached that end. And like I said, in most cases, well, in mine, it takes me finishing the two yarns, the two embroidery flosses before I'm actually finished. So keep going, and I'm going to show you how to end. So I finished knitting my shoelace, and you know, just need to stretch out my work so that it's the appropriate length, and that it looks nice and thin and flat the way it's supposed to look. And now I'm going to close up this end on the top. Okay, so basically what I do is I pull this off of here, and you could do this with a crochet hook if you like, or a knitting needle, or any one of those will work. Basically the objective is to get that working yarn through here. Okay, so I take the working yarn and I pull it through here. Okay, like that. It's called gathering. And then I get the next one and I do the same thing. I pull it. Now if you don't have a knitting needle, a crochet hook, then you can just put this through a yarn needle or any type of thick needle and dig it through here and pull it up, and this will pull out and it will be inside, because your point is to get this string through this hole. Okay, you can also do that with the hook. It's just a little more difficult because the string is so thin as opposed to regular yarn. That's why the crochet hook just works better. Once you've done that, then just pull it up, and as you can see, it will be a knot. That's on this side, that was hook here. The first one is going to look a little loose, so in that case you need to feed this yarn, this loose yarn, a little bit more through it just to tighten it up some more. Okay, and once you have it tight like that, and you know that this is in the middle because that's where you want it, right in the middle, then you figure out how long do you want this to be. You know, we're working on this part now, and you're going to cut this. I can see how long it is, just to be just a little bit longer than what you're wanting. Not a lot longer, just a bit longer. Okay, and then you're gonna get some tape, just a small piece of tape like that, and put your yarn on an end and fold it over just once. You don't have to fold it a lot. In fact, you shouldn't, because you don't want your tape to be really thick and become a problem. So you're only going to fold it 1 or 2 times, and then you don't want it to be flat, right? You want it to be round. So you got to do some rolling like this. And the reason you're doing that is because you want the tape, you want the tape to be round and not flat. Because if it's flat, it's not going to feed through your little beads. It's only going to feed through if you've got it nice and round like that, you see? And then you have to decide like how many beads you're going to put. For me, I figured out that 6 beads was good enough, right, to make the length that I want it. And as you can see, you could just basically, once you have the tape in, some of these are not going to cooperate, some will, and you're going to take it and put it through there like that, and that'll help it feed through. So that's one. When you're done with your 6, which is why you should leave this a little longer than I just did, that was a mistake, sorry. Try to leave it a little longer. You do need to make a knot right here, right after you have the 6. And sorry, I cut this too short. So remember to leave it about 4 to 5 inches long. And after you have the 6, you come and you basically do a knot. Having a hard time here. Okay, you're going to do a knot, and that knot will keep these in place. Put a little glue at the end, and you'll have this. All right, and that's your shoelace that you can do in all kind of colors, color combination, or lengths. All right, let me know if you have any issues, any problems. If something's not working quite right, let me know, and I promise to give you an answer back. All right, this is Denise for rLmu.com, and I'll see you guys at the next project.